Every time I think about the enormous sum of money that some lawyers invest into their websites, and they end up with a largely useless digital graveyard, well, look, it makes me sad. My name is Chris Hargraves. I am from digitalmarketingforlawyers.com, and this is the Digital Marketing Mastery series for lawyers. I've probably called it something different a few times now, but that's basically what it is. And I wanted to spend a couple of minutes just talking about your website and whether you're focusing on the wrong thing. See, while I am not a web designer, I am a website strategist. And so my job is to ask the question, what is the point of your website? And the difficulty that a lot of lawyers have is they look at functions and they look at how pretty it is and things like that, but they don't ask the strategic question, which is, what is the point? What do we want someone to do when they hit our website? Do we want them to sign up to our newsletter? Do we want them to call a practitioner? Do we want them to reach out via a contact form? Do we want them to do something else? What is it we want them to do? Because here's the problem. Most lawyers can't actually decide because it's not the easiest decision in the world. And to some extent, you just need to pick one that seems like sufficient action on the part of your visitor that you can then turn that lead, which is hopefully what you're generating, into a client over time. But how are you going to do that? Well, the first way you're going to do that is you're going to stop obsessing about the prettiness of your website. The vast majority of modernly made websites, modernly may or may not be a word, but let's just carry on. Modern websites are mostly fairly good looking in the overall scheme of things. Sure, there are some that you look at and go, wow, that's next level. That's something amazing. And there are others you look at and you think, oh my goodness, what died and created this website? But between those two extremes, most modern websites look okay. What they don't all do is to actually achieve the thing. And a lot of lawyers aren't asking that question during the design process. Okay, so we are a firm who practices in a particular area. What is it that we want our website visitors to do when they land on our website? And how does our design, this is the kicker, how does our design encourage that to occur? Because if it doesn't, then there's a mismatch between your strategy and your design. So you need to engage with your designer from a strategic perspective. And if they are literally just a graphic designer and they have no conception about the site's strategy, then that's fine, because that might not be their job. But you need to make sure you're not meshing together these two roles of strategy and design and turning them into one thing, because you might end up with a website that cost a decent chunk of money but didn't actually do what you were hoping it was going to do. So you need to decide, what is the best form of lead our website can get us? That's really most often the decision you're going to make in a strategic perspective is going to be some form of lead generation. And if you have just the most awesome telephone system in the world and great people who pick up the phones and can handle that really well, then maybe getting a telephone call is the best choice. If you have an excellent automated system, then maybe signing up to your email newsletter is the best choice. If you have practitioners that are on the ball and happy to take direct calls, then maybe that is a good choice too. Whatever it might be, you need to decide what that is, and you need to tell your designer, hey, when people get to the website, we want them to click here, we ultimately want them to end up here, and this is what we like them to do, because then your designer can take that into account. Because human behavior isn't always 100% predictable. So the next thing you need to do, of course, is test it. Put a completely cold individual in front of your website and watch them click around it. Now, two things will happen. One, they'll be more generous with their time. But two, you're going to be horrified that they just go off in all sorts of random directions, and the things that made sense to you make absolutely no sense to them. So you need to make it clear. And this means removing the clutter. A lot of law firm websites are very, very cluttered. There's too much to do, too many practice areas, too many menu items, too many boxes to click, too many forms to fill, too much happening on the page. You've got to boil it right down as much as humanly possible so that what people can do to secure the information they want and then take the action you want them to take is very, very neat and clear and obvious. This is how user experience makes a big difference on websites. So that is my number one tip for you. Look at your website strategically, not just from its prettiness factor. Your homework, if you have a website, and I'm pretty confident you probably do, is to find someone who has never been to your website before, whom you trust, and stand behind them silently and ask them to visit your website and just do stuff as if they were an interested prospect. Watch what they do without comment. Don't tell them where to go. Don't tell them what to click. And see what they do. Get them to tell you what they find confusing or hard to find. Get them to tell you what they think about the words at the top or the images that you've used, and get that honest feedback. Because a lot of lawyers don't do that. They just sort of think, looks good to us, must look good to everyone else. That's probably not true. As always, subscribing is nice. I get a warm, fuzzy feeling in my chest when people subscribe. So that's lovely if you could do that. If not, share it with someone, say hello, leave a comment, all the usual things. And I will see you after you've been horrified by this third-party website review. But hopefully it will give you some useful information.